Hey everybody, Royas here, and Godot 4.2 is out, so we're going to take a moment
Woo!
to go through all of our favorite changes that Godot 4.2 added.
So
Alright.
first, we're gonna look at the navigation and tile maps.
So, exciting additions have been cooking in the navigation system of the engine by Godot's resident navigation maintainer, Smix8. At the top of the list is navigation mesh baking for 2D, bringing it to parity with 3D navigation. It is capable of handling physics bodies, mesh instances, plane polygons, and of course tile maps. On top of that, both 2D and 3D navigation servers now support multi-threading when baking navigation meshes, remove stuttering, and bringing performance to a whole new level. So,
That's gonna be super nice just for performance when you're working on your game.
so basically, what this is gonna do is just make navigation better. And so, like, do you think the navigation AI is gonna be better at all, or nah?
Uh, I think it's just the baking. I think it's just a performance increase in when baking. So like if you're doing a large scene, it's just gonna be faster.
Yeah, because it'll bake it at runtime, and so users' computers and baking it live.
Is it baking it at runtime?
That's what baking is.
No, baking is before runtime.
Or yeah, sorry, yeah, before runtime.
Yeah.
Alright, tile maps. One of the areas that receives the most feedback is the tile/tile map system and editor, and so improvements to them in Godot 4.2 are plentiful, targeting both usability and performance. Let's start with this name, who has laid out a lot of groundwork for future improvements with an internal refactoring earlier this year. This has been followed by two major performance optimizations, cutting down update times multiple times over, thanks to smart tiling grouping using quadrants and Y sorting upgrade, as well as other optimizations. Impressive as it is, it might be overshadowed by the sheer number of usability improvements to the creation and utilization of tile maps contributed by Thomas Chabora. Probably the most notable addition in this release is the new tool which allows you to flip and rotate any tile or tile pattern, oh thank goodness,
I've
when,
been waiting for this.
when placing them in the world, and the list continues with improvements to the scene tiles. Polygon editing, various hints, and tips that direct users, and so on and so forth. Okay, good.
This honestly needed to happen a while ago.
Well, like, I don't.
These
Yeah.
like
Unity
these are
doesn't
just
have these features, does it? Like the flipping and rotating
it
tiles on
does,
the.
yeah.
It does? Okay.
Yeah. Like you use like the square bracket keys and it'll like flip and rotate your tiles in Unity.
But
But yeah, now if you've got like a tile that fits in all four directions, you don't need it to make it four times, which is great.
that's
And
very helpful. It saves on a lot of work.
also the tips and everything, like because the tile map was a little clunky to figure out how to use
Like, the
initially.
documentation's pretty bad for tile maps, so.
Yeah, but it's a new system, so I get it, and it's improving. So I'm very happy. This is very good.
Alright, now down to porting, wherever that is. We're gonna skip all this.
There's good stuff in there. It's just like I mainly do 2D, so
Okay, multiplayer networking. This one's actually big deal. A few noteworthy improvements landed in the engine's high-level multiplayer system, with the multiplayer synchronizer node now supports synchronization of sub-resource properties, transform components, and other index data. Without having to synchronize entire objects, that's good, because we do not want entire objects being synchronized, because that's heavy for the player and the server. Scene replication options have been streamlined and optimized, and the corresponding editor should now have less confusing UI. UI wasn't too bad, but like
I'm
they're
always down for some UI improvements.
always down for more UI improvements. This release also includes security fixes previously disclosed in a blog post. If your project uses eNet multiplayer peer or the low-level eNet connection, there's a potential of a DDoS attack that utilizes a flaw in the eNet library. We strongly recommend updating to 4.2. And thank you to him for reporting the vulnerability. Scene replication. Good. Their scene replication sucked for multiplayer. Uh
Yeah,
switching
I remember you
scenes
complaining about that a lot.
switching scenes for multiplayer was a hassle, and like it never felt like it worked consistently. It's like, oh, like it would replicate for the server, but not the player, or like a client. But now, like, this basically makes multiplayer usable in Godot, I think, for me,
Yeah.
because it was
So,
pretty bad before.
going back to the synchron or not having to synchronize entire objects. So, like, you didn't want all the data synchronized for just like even reasons, like you didn't want to synchronize the user's inventory or stuff. Was that required? I've never actually used the multiplayer.
I'm pretty
Di-
sure it was required. It was like you picked a node and it synchronized everything about that node.
Oh, that would have been so
So
bad
like
because
that was clunky.
like if you're playing a PvP game, say like RuneScape, and you can see everyone's inventory, that would be horrible.
Yeah, that would not be good. Like a trick of server and networking programming is to hide as much from the client as possible, and so this allows you to do more of that.
Yeah, I like that. I like that a lot. So there's just a lot of really, really good things in this.
This is what I'm most excited about 4.2 now.
I'm
Porting.
really excited for the mobile input stuff.
Okay, porting. Godot prides itself on first-class support when it comes to porting, including all mainstream desktop platforms, mobile platforms, with some exciting news coming to C# users, and the web platform.
That's me.
That's us. Part of this support includes better integration with the host environment. In this release, Godot's porting guru has added native file selection dialogues for Linux, macOS, and Windows, allowing you to leverage familiar user interfaces in your games and apps. This feature
That's
is
nice.
especially important for sandbox apps in macOS. So, it's
Consistency's always a good
yeah,
thing.
it's just making it more consistent when you port. That's nice. Less
Yeah.
work while porting to different operating systems is nice. Another extremely useful interaction with the operating system is copying and pasting images thanks to efforts from Dector. I'm not going to read their name. Sorry, guys. This is now implemented for all desktop platforms. Oh,
Oh,
again,
that's
consistency. That's very nice. Like,
that's really cool.
we do some of our deving on Linux, so like just making it consistent across
Yeah.
everything. That's really nice. Okay, good.
Consistency, I'm here for it.
Are we doing Android?
I don't think so.
Okay. Linux. This is us, even though I'm on Windows right now. Linux support comes naturally in open source, as many Godot contributors daily drive various Linux distributions. One of the more obscure variations that the engine supports is Linux for ARM processors. While the engine could always be built for this target, we never provide official distributions for Linux on ARM. But thanks to the effort from these
These
guys,
people. Yeah.
I'm sorry, guys, to update our build tool chains, we now can. Big deal.
Honestly,
Raspberry Pi, like Godot
yes.
on Raspberry Pi, like get that stuff in schools. Just start teaching kids how to program with Godot.
Because it's such a light engine to use. Like you could totally have kids working with this. It's so good. Well, and I think just as things move more to ARM-based systems, this is a really nice upgrade.
I think this is gonna be like this is preparing it for the future because like Unity has I think Mac Silicon support and Unreal doesn't support anything like that. So
Yeah, that's just going to be the way things go from here, I think, is everything's going to switch to ARM over time.
it's just cheaper. So all right, I think we're reading this one.
I think so, yeah.
For the rendering team, the name of the game this time around is Go Big or Go Home. Everyone maintaining Godot's render capabilities have something to be proud of in this release. These people implemented, improved, and fixed a number of big features in just 3 short months. Good for them. It's hard to pick where to start, but performance improvements across the board is definitely deserve a mention.
There's so many performance improvements in this one.
Splitting a raster barriers into vertex and fragments components aims to improve performance on mobile devices. Good.
Yeah.
Noise textures receive an optimization, so random world generation will be
Is going to be more
faster.
performant.
That's
Yeah.
always good, and so does the depth of pre-pass. I don't know what this means.
Oh, yeah, that's fine.
Okay. Shader loading and compilation times should see an improvement thanks to shady RD compilation groups.
I
Another,
don't know what those are.
another major optimization in this release comes from two changes to see how the engine stores meshes, a different approach in the memory layout of vertex data. Positions from normals and tangents should improve performance on mobile devices and in some situations on desktop as well. A new compressed option reduces bandwidth requirements, which can result in performance gains and bandwidth limited scenarios.
So I assume that's if you're trying to stream in a lot of assets all at once.
Yeah, and like maybe this is also getting ready for ARM because I think ARM you can stream in less data at once.
Maybe,
It
yeah.
or maybe like ARM can handle less data at the same time as
Well, that might be
x86.
a big deal for like open world games, I think, where you're trying to stream in large chunks of the world.
Yeah. Importantly, these changes were implemented without breaking compatibility. Good. Good.
Very good.
Unity kept breaking compatibility in HDR. The engine will
And
automatically
URP?
yeah, the engine will automatically upgrade older meshes to the newer format on load. A new tool in the project's tools menu allows you to perform a permanent conversion. However, this is one way change. Meshes that have been imported with 4.2 or later will no longer be compatible with older versions of Godot and will require re-importing. Should you
Well, if
choose
it's
to go
just
back to an early version?
a straight upgrade, I don't know why you'd want to go back unless there's like rendering issues, but so just back up your meshes before doing it, I
Yeah.
guess, is the moral of the story here.
Alright, if you're using compute shaders, this is for Patrick, a pair of goodies
Yeah.
should make your life way more exciting. First is the newly added ability to create custom texture objects.
So I think that what they're saying there is you don't have to pass the texture back from the GPU to the CPU and then back to the GPU. I think it'll just apply the texture automatically on the GPU to the object, so it's like you're passing less data back and forth between the two. It's great.
Which, if you do
Uh,
graphics programming, this is like passing
yeah,
information between the two is your big bottleneck.
you hate doing that. It's the worst thing ever.
It's avoid at
Passing
all
data back.
costs, yeah.
Yeah.
You can see how this works in practice to create water effects with this compute texture demo. Let's see if we can.
No, it's a GitHub. Oh,
Oh,
I thought they
I
were
thought
gonna
this was
have a
gonna
GIF.
GIF. Yeah. Okay, and another submission as a set of API calls or APIs to call compute code on the render thread for cases when you need to synchronize compute shaders and rendering.
Okay.
I'm not sure
So
when that would be.
like yeah, I don't know. Maybe if you're generating like meshes and stuff. I
Yeah.
yeah, I have no idea. But
Prom- Prominent bugs was fixed when you went over
oh, probably
204
when you're doing
lights.
post-processing effects.
Okay, and yeah, you want them synchronized.
Yeah.
A prominent bug was fixed, which caused a crash if you went over 204 lights, decals, and reflection probes combined. This issue stopped users from fully flexing the strength of the Forward Plus engine, but are now free to use up to 512 of each entity type.
Oh, that's nice.
In the default configuration, this can be increased, and the built-in glow effect has been improved, making its visuals closer to the high-quality look from Godot 3.x.
Yep, that just
Um,
makes things look better.
I guess we just can go over FSR support.
The big hitters, and we're gonna skip them.
We're gonna, yeah, like up, just upgrade or upscale your models.
Yay.
Woo! Oh, wait. 2D HDR rendering. I want to read this.
Okay.
For Forward Plus and mobile rendering methods, this release introduces 2D HDR rendering, unlocking 3D effects such as glow for 2D games. Oh.
Ooh, that's nice.
HDR rendering can be used to substantially improve the quality of 2D rendering at the cost of performance. Yeah. Compatibility renderer also gets a new entity feature, 3D shadows. Oh! That's gonna give
Yeah.
some unique looking 2D games.
Mm-hmm.
Last but not least, an optional angle backend OpenGL. Okay, I don't know what that. So just keeps Mac OS in the loop. It seems like.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, on top of Metal and Direct. Okay, yeah. So it seems like it's just kind of figuring out your OS, acting accordingly.
Should we do particles?
Uh, you've done particles. I haven't touched the particles in Godot yet, so that's up
Uh,
to you.
it seems like they just cleaned up particles, so like
Yeah.
that's nice, but like most
It's now
people I
possible.
don't think are gonna notice much of a difference.
Like you can now directly animate velocity over lifetime,
That's
which
nice,
that's nice. Yeah.
but we'll just skip over this too. Shaders, visual shaders got some nice improvements addition to the drop-down list. Custom nodes and the output ports for vector types are now expandable by default. In text shaders, improvements were done to uniform sampler arrays to give the support for more hint types such as filter nodes.
Okay. Cool.
Scripting, GD scripting improvements. Woo! Okay.
Our
See,
thing.
our thing. Back in March, Godot 4.2. Ah, Godot 4.0 was released, replacing Mono as the main .NET backend for the new version of the .NET platform. This created an unfortunate vacuum when it comes to mobile and web exports. Godot's C#/.NET maintainers had to wait for the new .NET 8.0 to continue their work and expand support for to include those platforms. And so the time has come. Godot 4.2 features experimental support for Godot and iOS, for Android and iOS export targets.
That's nice. So finally, I can start making like C# mobile tutorials.
Yeah, there's still some kinks to iron out, some caveats to consider. Here's caveats. Okay, I don't know.
Too much reading for now.
Yeah, and of course, we rely on public testing to make sure everything works as expected. For the time being, this support will remain experimental, and we are still missing the web platform. Oh, I thought the web platform was coming in this one.
Oh no,
That's
that's
really
sad.
sad. But we are confident that the state is good enough to plan ahead if your next project is expected to ship to iOS or Android. So please start testing and report what you find.
We will. Don't worry. We'll start making videos.
In more general improvements to the C# integration, there are a number of fixes to the binding generator. The language binding also supports abstract classes now.
Yeah.
Interoperability. You want to explain what abstract classes are?
Abstract classes are like classes that aren't fully defined, or like you can override certain things in them.
Yeah. Interoperability with GD script has been improved. So maybe like in our Godot video, maybe now you can actually use GD script with Godot or
Or with C#.
with C
Like
sharp to get
it seemed like
in
the
our
main.
Arduino video. Dang it!
Oh yeah, yeah. I guess maybe you could do a GD script Arduino one where it's
Yeah.
like you've got your C# stuff. And did you need to use static classes in that video?
No, it's just interoperability between the two.
Yeah, because they just added support for static methods and read and write only
Oh, okay, so
properties.
then no. Then no, it's not gonna help. And that's about it. What are your
Yeah,
thoughts on the Godot changes?
it looks pretty good. I'm really excited for the mobile upgrades. I'm gonna probably play with the compute shader stuff. I'm not totally sure if you have to pass the texture back and forth. I'm hoping that that's not the case. With that, is like you just get the performance gains because you leave everything on the GPU. It
Eh,
seems like they're setting up for being able to do post processing effects with compute shaders, although that may already be in. I don't know.
And I'm excited for, you know,
Yes.
better
The multiplayer.
networking, which I'm sure there'll be a few tutorials coming out for now, because it was bad. It was bad. Like, it
Yeah,
wasn't
I
good.
wasn't. No,
Um,
but it's getting there, and I'm happy.
so
Lots
oh,
of performance gains, which is always good.
overall, a pretty good update. Lots to be excited about. So look forward to more tutorials on things involved in this stuff at a future
Yeah,
date.
yeah, and also there's the support for those new physics engines. Like some people made some physics servers,
Oh
and
yeah,
we'll be test that are only work with 4.2.
yeah, like Box
And so,
2D, which was the old Unity
yeah,
physics engine.
and then there's also one for Rapier 2D, and so like we'll be able to test those out and see how they work with it. And I'm really excited to use that
Yeah,
since they didn't work on anything before 4.2, and now they work on 4.2.
yeah. So lots to be excited about. All right, thank you guys so much for watching. Have a good one.
Bye.